Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's been doing awesome since last time I saw you. It is Wednesday here in my kitchen, and it's amazing that about 9 days have gone by since I've had the time to make a new video. And I know that I said that I would have that out to you on Monday, but you know, life sometimes takes twists and turns and mountains and valleys, and I had a really busy week last week. So I was actually baking all day on Monday, and we had so much to do that my mom said, Monday, don't do the video with me in the kitchen, please. That way I can come in between and not be in your way. And I said, of course, Mom, that's completely fine. Because I don't want to make my mom uncomfortable, because I love my mama. And yesterday I hadn't had a day off, a full day of not baking, and being in my kitchen was causing me some angst, and everything was dropping, and I just was bumping myself, and so I had no commitments yesterday. So I said, Wendy, Dawn, get your bakery order out the door to Stella and Irene's and get out of your kitchen, get out of your house, and do something all day today that is just for you. So I went to the Goodwill and did a little shopping. I went on a long drive and spent time with Jesus. He says that my music is loud. It is. And he might put a seatbelt on a little bit when I drive, because sometimes I like to drive fast. But I really like to drive just out in the country, and I like to pick wildflowers barefoot, and I like to cry, because crying for me is a form of meditation, and it's how I find my center. And then I laugh a whole bunch, so it's all good. So yesterday I chose to take the day and spend the day with myself and with my center, and I had a lovely day. So I said, I feel better, I feel centered and grounded, and I'm ready to get back into my kitchen. And it feels good to be back, and it feels good to be here with you. So today we're going to be making something so good called Coconut Dreams Cake, and I'm going to get started with that in 1 second. But there's a couple things that I want to let you know about that I don't know if we really talked about before. So as you know, I run Wendy's Cupcakes and Culinary Adventures, which is a baker. I'm a chef. I do private parties. I do culinary. I do all sorts of cooking classes and things like that. So make sure that you visit my website if any of those things apply to any of the things that you need or want. And I'm also a spiritual teacher and a Zen teacher. And I run a place called Zen Places with Wendy, and it's here in my home. All of my businesses are gratefully here in my home. That's where I run Wendy's Cupcakes and Culinary Adventures. Oh, there's a kitty outside my door, a baby. I run Zen Places with Wendy, and I have a darling little pretty thing boutique called My Gypsy Soul Boutique. So all of those things are here in my home in Historic Council Bluffs, and they are open to the public. So please visit my websites if you are interested. Hi, baby. If you are interested in those. But on this YouTube channel, obviously, maybe you've been doing some scrolling and some looking around at some of the things that I do. And in addition to all of the baking and cooking kind of little episodes, I also do teachings. I am a teacher. I have been walking with my teacher for a very, very, very long time. That's all I can really say. In this life, I have been aware of his presence, his/her, whatever you may need at the time, for 20 years. And during that 20 years, my teacher has taught me how to overcome things of life, and ultimately to fall in love like with me. And I am going to tell you, as you guys know, that is a process. And that can be difficult to do if we have been hurt by others, if we have hurt ourselves, and just really it's all a part of being a human being in general. So some of my teachings I get on a bit of a tangent about, so those, I pray that you watch those too, because those are really the important ones. Some of my videos are all about maybe things you hadn't thought about before that could help you think differently and more positive and more self-affirming than you had previously. And then some of them are going to come from deep within me, which is where our creator, our source and existence lies. It's not out there. It's not out there somewhere or in a building or in your other friends' opinions or beliefs. I mean, didn't we all get a head and a heart of our own? And a soul that's so beautiful and alive that maybe sometimes we just need help lighting that internal flame, or that fountain of water needs to be unplugged by all the things that the earth has filled it with. You could watch those other videos if things like this interest you that I'm talking about. And if you've met me, whether it's virtually or in person, and you're like, she's different. She's different. There's something about her. It is true. I am different. I spent many of my years trying to be like everybody else until I was told that I am to be like nobody else. And to be quite honest, you guys, if you're so busy trying to be like everybody else, then where are you? Who are you? And in this world of selfies and social media and all of these opinions and rules and judgments and some prominent figure saying you should do this, or those people are bad, or oh, you must swim this way to get where we're going. That is not true. That is wrong. It's wrong. Our teacher is gentle and kind and strong, but not pushy, not mean or demanding. I would never, ever, ever, never say anything mean to you. So after I'm done making Coconut Dreams cake today, I'm gonna jump on and do my next lesson that you have been waiting for, and it is all about shame, overcoming shame. What you think about is what you talk about, and that is what's going to come about. And I'm going to teach you how to manifest what you want your life to look like, what you want to bring into your life, and what you need to get out. I will help you. So that's coming. That will be up later today. I will get that up and ready for you. So I also wanted to tell you quickly, you can be a guest in my kitchen for one of my cooking shows. So I'm going to post something on wendyskitchenboutique.com, and it will be all over Facebook, and you can buy a ticket to come and sit. And I have 5 guest chairs here, and you can come and be a guest in my kitchen while we air one of these shows. Make it super interactive and fun. Upcoming events, I am having a brunch that is open to the public next Wednesday here from 10:30 to noon. Once again, that information is on my website, wendyskitchenboutique.com. ZenPlacesWithWendy.com has all of my spirituality as well as my spiritually based classes and offerings. So just think, food and bakery is on Wendy's Cupcakes and Culinary. Spirituality is on Zen Places with Wendy. Because I do understand that maybe everyone who likes cupcakes isn't really into spirituality, and they're doing something different with this particular lifetime. So I'm totally down with that, you guys. Next Thursday is super important. If you are into spirituality, or if you're into maybe just feeling better about yourself and feeling better about life and this process of living, or maybe you've got so much stuff going on in your head that is about to pop and you're just angsty, like I was talking about yesterday in my kitchen, and you need to get some release. Next Thursday from 6:30 to 9 in my beautiful Zen gardens outside, we are having a Burn Your Burdens beautiful class, and we're actually going to burn our burdens in an open fire underneath the harvest moon. So that, my friends, is next Thursday. Once again, that is on zenplaceswithwendy.com. Any questions about anything that I talked about, you are always more than welcome to just call me, 813-255-5153. Now, let's make Coconut Dreams cake. Beautiful. And remember, you have entered a shame-free zone, and you have entered a zone that is able for you to put your hair down. You can put your apron on. You can loosen your apron. I'm barefoot, for heaven's sakes. Be you. Be you, be you, be you is beautiful. Okay? All right. I tend to like things to be tidy, like I told you, and that is a generational thing. I just want you to know, my mom got it from her mom got it from her mom, and I'm super close to my Aunt Mary and my Aunt Debbie and all of my cousins and my Aunt Yvonne. I love my Aunt Yvonne too. And I've asked them, and they're like, yep, we're all the same way. We're just in different levels. But we have something called OCD, which means we need things to have order. So my kitchen is super orderly, which is why, and if yours isn't, I'm not mad about it. And if I come to your house, I don't have the desire to clean your house because it's not my workspace. It's just my space. So, okay, I put a towel, that's why I was kidding to this, that's why I put a towel down on my counter, because I have black granite, and black granite is actually very good for me because it's a grounding stone, so it helps me to feel grounded. Although it shows every single fingerprint, every single smudge and things like that, which is why I use my handy dandy towel, because it's easier for me to clean it. So, Coconut Dreams cake. This is the easiest thing you are going to do in your entire lifetime. I promise. Like, I totally do. So let's get started, and we will have this done in a heartbeat. Coconut Dreams cake is what I'm known for, one of the most popular cakes that I make. And I am going to teach you the easiest way to do it, the quickest way to do it, and this is the most moist. If you cannot eat gluten, then I also have a gluten-free option with this, and if you need that, that is a completely different kind of deal, because this we get to use a cake mix with. So start off with, and this is going to make like either a 2-layer cake. I did make 2 cakes ahead of time so we can frost them without me having to make this into like 1, 2, or 3 segments. I also silenced my phone, because if my phone rings, then it cuts my video off, which is why sometimes my videos have it in 3 parts. We solved those problems. 3rd time's a charm, guys. So this makes, what we're going to do, makes 2 9-inch round cakes. You do not have to make it in a 9-inch round. You can make it in a 9x13 pan. You can make it in a bundt pan. You can make it any way that you need. Someone called my phone. I had to shut it off. Okay, so that was my mom calling. Alrighty, so 1 white cake mix. This, I like to get my cake mixes from Super Saver. Super Saver has their brand, which is Best Choice, for 98 cents. And they are just as good as any cake mix that you're gonna buy that might have all of those extra ingredients in it, because we're going to put those ingredients in it. This one I got from Hy-Vee last night. It was more expensive. This was $1.49. So, more expensive is not better. I'm just letting you know right now. We are totally good with the 98-cent one. I will tell you that I don't get mine at Aldi, because although I wanted to, and they were also, they were like 68 cents, but I don't think that maybe they got sold enough because they were a little bit more crumbly, which means, like, you know, see how this kind of has some chunks in it, but they break? Let me show you that. So they break up really easy. The ones at Aldi, they had chunks in it that I could not break up, which means that maybe their shelf life, they've been around a little bit too long. So I don't buy those. 1 white cake mix. 1 can of coconut milk. You can do, and I'm coming up there again. Look at this. Okay, this came from Walmart. I was at Walmart and picked some of these up. You can find it at most any grocery store, and this is coconut milk. You can also use light coconut milk, but it's best to use the normal coconut milk because this has more of the fat in it, and we are looking for the fat in order for things to be moist. Okay, it is okay if you use the light. Just know it's not going to be quite like mine if you are used to having mine. And then we are going to put in mayonnaise. I never, ever, ever, never, and I mean that, use oil in anything either from scratch or from a mix that I bake with, okay? I always use mayonnaise. I don't care if the recipe calls for oil, I'm still using mayonnaise. And you're like, Wendy, I was told to follow the recipe. I am here to tell you that if you need mentally to follow that recipe, you do it. And if that oil has been serving you well, use it. But oil does not serve me well. I do know that there's some oil in here, but the mayonnaise is a more of a white whip that I like better, and it serves me better. So once again, those are those rules that we're talking about. Just because I do it this way doesn't mean that you have to. And just because your mom or your grandma or your aunt or maybe a strict boss said that you have to do it this way, I'm here to tell you that stop it. Stop listening to everybody else and experiment for you. Do what you want to do and see how it turns out. And if it turns out awesome, do it. If it turns out not as awesome, you have the choice to never do that again. That's part of the beauty of being alive. Okay, mayonnaise is next. The box that we just used, this box, by the way, called for 1 cup of water, which I never use water in my cake mixes either. I always use a vitamin D milk if I'm doing just a normal cake, but instead of the milk, we used coconut milk today. You can also use almond milk, but for this recipe, let's just stay here, coconut milk. The recipe, the box called for 1/4 cup oil. I always use mayonnaise, and I always at least double it. I put 1/2 cup mayonnaise. I do not use Miracle Whip mayonnaise. Okay, so we currently have the cake mix, the whole can of coconut milk, the whole can, 1/2 cup mayonnaise, mayonnaise. If you don't have mayonnaise and you want to make this right now, you could use Miracle Whip, but I'm just saying it's best to use mayonnaise. And then egg whites. 3 egg whites. I do a lot of baking, so I get a box of egg whites. You can also separate your own and do it, that is fine. And it's 3 egg whites. I will use a measuring cup. That will be 1/2 cup of this mix equals 3 egg whites. And you see I'm not banging every time, okay? It's okay not to bang. We don't want to get plastic or metal or any shavings of any sort into our beautiful cake. Now, I can hear someone asking, well, why do we have to use egg whites and not whole eggs? I use, for my cakes, 90% of the time only use egg whites and never the whole egg because egg whites make it fluffier. And this is also a white cake, which is why we don't put the whole egg in. We just use the egg whites. because I want this cake to stay white and not turn that golden yellow from that yolk of that egg. And the last ingredient, can you believe it, is coconut extract. And I do one teaspoon. I usually don't measure, but I'm doing that for you today. All right, so this is a coconut extract that I get from Restaurant Supply. Any of the ingredients, like I say in all of my videos, if you want to use the ingredients that I use, but you definitely don't want to buy a huge, this is huge, right? Thing like this, then you just call me and you can come and get it. You can come and use my ingredients. I like that. I like people to come and see me, and I like to share because it makes me happy to share. That's why I'm sharing all of this with you, because I know you like my cakes, and so it's okay for you to learn how to do them. I'm not mad about it. So maybe you don't have that flavor of coconut extract. That's okay. You can use whatever flavoring that you have. It's all generally the same, so to speak. Mine is just a restaurant grade. It's a baker grade, so it's a little bit more concentrate. And obviously, there's a lot more. And mine is real. I don't use any imitation flavors. You're welcome to. I just don't like the bite that imitation flavor puts into my cake. Okay, so let's recap, because this is it. We've got 1 dry white cake mix, 1 can of coconut milk, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 3 egg whites, and 1 teaspoon of coconut flavor. And if you don't have coconut flavor, but you have all of the other ingredients for this cake, I'm telling you right now, you do not need to put the coconut extract in it. I never, ever, ever use a mixer for any of my baked goods. My mom will use a mixer when she is doing angel food cakes, but I'm from the Midwest, and I really like food in general, and I have really strong muscular arms, so it's good for me to use these arms to mix. And not only is it good for my arms to get the exercise, but I'm putting part of myself, my love, into this cake by doing it manually. Okay, that is done. Let's get our pans ready. Okay, pans are kind of a good thing to talk about too. It's a good question. Is how do we prepare our pans? These are 9-inch non-stick baking pans, but I do still need to prepare these pans to have something baked in them, because otherwise your cake's not going to want to come out. Here's one of those things. We've done it all different ways. I was raised on the notion that you have to use Crisco, and so Crisco all, you can use your fingertips to put the Crisco down, or a lard. Such a weird word, right? Put Crisco down, and then flour, and then okay? Or you could do Crisco down and powdered sugar, right? Completely cool. Either's fine. Or you could do like a pan cooking spray. The same thing with the flour or the baking, not baking powder, but powdered sugar down. Those are all fine, and we have done all of them. We used to have experiments down in the boutique kitchen to see which one comes out better. And they all did pretty good. But then my mom and I, after 10,000 cakes and 400 million cupcakes later, I bought this pan spray. It's an all-purpose pan spray that I got at Restaurant Depot. I'm going to show it to you. And this is specifically a chef's choice. And this, I only have to spray my pans, and I no longer have to put anything else down. So it works great for me. And I only spray outside because I don't want it to fly on all of my stuff. And plus I don't like to breathe it in. So have a pause. Take a drink of your coffee. sit and ponder life for a second, and I'm gonna walk outside and spray my pans and come right back. I am back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my batter just by sight into my 2 pans. Remember, I do this often so I can kind of tell. Once again, I'm not beating my whisk on my pan. I'm going to use a rubber spatula. I'm telling you guys, it's handy to use a rubber spatula. This is one I got at a garage sale, and it's a Pampered Chef, and it's my favorite because it's soft and I can just use it so well. My mom's favorite is one that I got her from Home Goods. Some of those cute ones that I used to sell at the boutique, like with the bunnies and the hearts and stuff on them. That's her favorite. So what I'm telling you is, it doesn't matter what kind you use, as long as it gets your batter out. Okay, I am happy with how that looks. Get the extra batter off. Wash my hands a little bit here. Okay, now your cake mix, because we have been stirring it, we've been adding stuff, it has a lot of air in it. So if you are like Wendy, sometimes my cakes cook lopsided or they're darkened on one side, you need to get the air out. So I beat these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I'm doing that, you can see the air bubbles coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're frustrated, that helps get some frustration out. We're going to go ahead and put these in our oven. 350-degree oven. Set a timer if you need to. Set your timer for 15 minutes, and you will be able to check them. Don't be checking them all the time though, because if you keep opening your door, you're lowering the temperature inside of your oven, so your cakes aren't cooking right. So just leave your cakes be for 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes you can check them and see if they're done. Another helpful hint is if your ovens, for a while my ovens needed calibrated, so they were cooking uneven, which caused us a lot of problems. Mom's was doing it over there, and mine was doing it. So I had to recalibrate my ovens, but rotating your things are good. So if you're noticing that part of your cake or your cupcake or whatever it is you're baking is getting like darker, you need to be moving those throughout. But you can do that about 10 minutes in. Just once again, watch that door opening thing. If you're like, oh, I need to check it, stop doing that. You don't need to check it. Let your stuff bake. Also, you will know that this cake is done. So people worry, how am I going to know my cake's done one day? There are all sorts of things that you can do. This is what I do, is that I know that a cake is done when I touch the top and it bounces back. It springs back. I'm not sticking things in my cake. I just don't need to do that. But as soon as it starts springing back, it's done. If you put your finger on it and your fingerprint stays, it's got about 2 minutes left. Okay? If you feel comfortable doing the toothpick or the knife, totally down too. I just don't do that. However, I am going to tell you that you have overbaked your cakes if they are pulling away from the sides a great deal. That means you have let it go too long. And remember that your cake is going to continue to bake for about 30 seconds after you pull it out of the oven. Okay, so as soon as that baby springs back, it's done. Get her out of there. Do not wait for her to shrink. Okay, the last part of what we're going to do today. How easy has that been so far, right? Easiest thing you've done all year is make a coconut dreams cake. I do make a lot of things from scratch, but as I was baking, my grandma Helen, she lives in heaven right now. Both of my grandmas do. My grandma, Joanne Sorensen, she was a baker. She was a Danish baker. And she was a very independent, strong-thinking woman, which is where I get that from. And then my grandma Musich, Helen Musich, was a very gentle German woman who I have recently found out had to live most of her childhood without her mom, and that she lost her mom in kind of a tragic way. So I have like a profound appreciation for my grandma Musich. And she's here with me because that's why I'm crying. I am an empathic medium, so when they come to visit, I feel extreme energy. And you'll see that on some of my videos that you watch of me teaching, learning to control that a little bit. But my grandma Musich did wedding cakes and cake decorating and things like that, which I now do as well. I never was, but here I am doing it anyway. And my mom said I was doing everything by scratch, and she said, you know, Grandma used to take a cake mix and do these things to it. And look at me now, making beautiful cakes using some cakes mix. It's perfect. It's like base. It's just all of the dry ingredients. You're not cheating. You're not doing anything wrong. It's still homemade because it's still flour, it's still sugar, it's still salt, it's still soda. It's all the same thing. It just happens to be in a box. It's what you do after you take it out of the box, like you just saw us do together, that makes it magical and yours and lovely, and you can do anything with a box cake mix. But there's lots of things that I do from scratch, completely from scratch, like our Thelma's Ultimate Carrot Cake, and all of my gluten-free and things like that. It just depends. So what I always say is, why suffer or why make things harder if you don't have to? Like, there's a lot of things in life. Bearing a child is very hard. My husband restores brick and mason. That's hard. Let's save our energy for the hard things and have fun when we can with the things that are not so hard. How about we frost this beautiful cake? All right. I'm not going to teach you how to make buttercream frosting. You do not get to know all of my secrets today. So this cake pan, as you'll see, I took a cake decorator, a flat. You can use a knife, you can use whatever you want. I simply go around it. I can tell that my cake is loose. There's a couple different ways. This is a pretty platter that you'll see. You can do it on a plate, you can do it on whatever you want. I flip that girl upside down. I'm gonna move her to the center. I have some white buttercream here. Can you see that? To frost this cake, we are going to add a little bit of coconut to my frosting. This is just a white buttercream base that I have here ready here. That way I can change it into any flavor that I want. Today we're turning it into coconut. Now, I have